I think China is conflicted about the coup. Xi Jinping had visited the country in January of 2021, the month before the coup, and China had good relations with Aung San Suu Kyi and the civilian government. It had maintained close ties with the Myanmar military, and it was a major provider of weapons to the military. But Myanmar was always seen as sort of an economic opportunity and a geostrategic location for China's access to the Indian Ocean. So it had major oil and gas pipelines across the country going into the Indian Ocean out of Rakhine State, massive infrastructure deals that the NLD government had moved forward with. So I think China was by and large happy to work with Aung San Suu Kyi, who was seen as a pragmatic player in the country's politics. It had invested a lot in maintaining relations with her and her government. And like I said previously, the military has always been very distrustful of China and its role in the country, wary of losing sovereignty to Chinese infrastructure investment, as well as suspicious of China's involvement with some of the ethnic minority armed groups in the country's north. So China has been reluctant to criticize the junta, but I think it's also frustrated with the chaos that's going on in the country, which poses a security threat, with COVID on the border, with now a raging civil war. And some of that relies on cross-border travel and support from within China. Some of these ethnic groups have ties to families in China, in Yunnan province, for instance. And so they're concerned that this instability will spill over the border. Control over the pandemic is of concern. And at the same time, most of their investment projects have stalled. And the military has made promises to sort of reboot some of these hydroelectric dams, for instance. But trade has really precipitously declined. And China is no doubt unhappy with the state of affairs within Myanmar, which is bad for business for them. I think China's concerned about its economic interests in Myanmar. That might not be paramount. I think geostrategically, Myanmar is quite important to China. For many reasons, China wants to retain influence in the country so that Myanmar doesn't represent the interests of US and the liberal West. They don't want a hostile power on their doorstep. But at the same time, like I said, Myanmar is China's access to the Indian Ocean. China also has a rivalry with India, and access to the Indian Ocean not only means greater flexibility in supply for energy and trade routes, but it also means that potentially one day down the road, China could operate a naval facility out of Myanmar and challenge India's control over the Indian Ocean.